Good evening, folks. Welcome to episode 16 of Just Conversations, No Interviews. Remember to like,
share,
and subscribe. And as always, put your hat on, folks, because this is going to be a wild one. Miss O will be landing in Philadelphia anytime now. She'll come running in from the airport. But until then, couple of our last couple shows, we've kind of went off the road of some things that we forgot to mention. As far as there's been a couple deaths. Shock G was one of them. I forgot we got to see Shock G. Yeah. Also, the great Paul Mooney just passed away this week, and also Lee Evans,
two-time gold
medalist. He is the guy that you remember on all the commercials and things when they talk about oppression and in sports and stuff. These guys always putting up his fist after running the hurdle, the meters, 400. So. That man actually took one of the first big stands in sports and oppression, kind of like what Kaepernick is doing now, and he really bit the bullet as far as making the people in power angry. He really felt the blackball as far as losing his opportunities and not being able to make money off the stuff. You said later on. So what happened? You said you found out about later on in life he was able to.
Yeah, from I forget exactly which schools it was, but he was able to. He was like training college kids. He was like the coach for certain colleges, preparing kids to guess do what he did.
Okay. And also Paul Mooney.
Oh, and even though he was blackballed back then, he did wind up being abducted into the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Olympic Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So he did make a stand. He was probably taught a good lesson from the powers that be, but he still persevered. But sometimes in life, when you make that stand, you're pretty much going to go for a very bumpy ride. So for those who will be making a stand, make sure you at least got your money right, so at least you can withstand what's going to happen.
I don't really want to. I want to bring it up, but I can't really quote him verbatim. But I saw a documentary on this before he even passed, and from my understanding, he didn't even mean. It wasn't even the same meaning when he put that fist up as we all took it as. According to him, he said that meant something for the guys that ran with him. It didn't even have nothing to do with what the Panthers was doing at that time. This is what he said out of his mouth on one of the documentaries that I saw. I don't know if it was like a rebuttal or like I didn't mean it that way. It wasn't, and it was actually a statement he made that was when he was an older man. So it wasn't like
anything again.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He said it. He really wasn't going for no political stance when he made that. When he did it, yeah.
And you said he did a bunch of other races too.
I seen photographs since his death of him doing that fist at other races. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Paul Mooney, funny, satire, hilarious dude.
Real informal.
Damn, you know what? I think we did talk about Paul Mooney, yo. On one of the other episodes. I just thought about it.
I don't think
we did, yo. Because, no, we didn't. Maybe I'm thinking about it. I'm getting shit confused. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
We did.
Legend.
He's a legend. He's a legend.
He was the some people call him the Robin to Richard Pryor. He was the Robin for Richard Pryor. Some people say he was the Scottie Pippen for Richard Pryor. Yeah. Whatever it was, they say he was the guy that really did a lot of talented stuff, but he didn't get all the press. But everybody in the game knew that he was the
go-to guy. He was the funny guy. Yeah.
I
mean, even for Chappelle, he wrote things for Chappelle Show. 11 Colors.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of things he done that he didn't necessarily get recognition for. But he was around. He was in the game.
In the credits. He's in a lot of credits. When you look at him, he's in a lot of credits.
Yeah.
For a lot of stuff that people for a lot of comedy stuff. So anything from the 70s till now, he's in somebody's credits, like you said, whether it's Chappelle, whether it was Living Color,
movies.
Yep. And just having a raw stand up. Like people really knew his stand up was probably one of the most raw stand up you can ever remember. Anybody got a Paul Mooney story they want to share that they may remember?
I know he said he wasn't for sale. He said he probably could have been a bigger celebrity if he would have toned down and whitewashed what it was that he had to say, and he wasn't willing to do that at no cost. And as popular as he was in the comedic circle, we know that he could have been bigger than what he was, or more popular than what he was. but he decided to be Paul Mooney, undisputedly. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't.
Well, they definitely threw some crazy smut on his name at the very end of his life.
Yeah,
I don't
the
know
whole
the
with Richard Pryor son and all that. Yeah,
and I don't know if that was ever proven or anything like that.
Yeah, that's just it. It was no receipt on that.
Yeah, it's just the thing about entertainment business is you ain't gonna go 40 years in entertainment business without somebody throwing smut on your name, like, So never really got the. I don't remember how that played out. I don't remember if the guy recanted the story or not.
And you never heard Richard Pryor speak on it.
No, Pryor been dead. I mean,
But
Pryor would have whipped his ass if he had known.
And it probably would have been in that community for a very long time. Meaning we wouldn't have been just hearing about it in these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that was that Quincy. I think it might have been Quincy Jones that was saying all that stuff at his old age.
That's right.
I think it's him that dropped on the bombs.
It is.
I think it's him dropping on the bombs. He just did another interview a couple weeks ago. It was some pretty interesting stuff.
He got a whole tell-all.
Quincy coming clean, huh?
Yeah. I wonder what he gonna say about him.
I mean, I say the ringleader want to talk about the Lions was doing his
He
service.
said this shit bigger than Nino Brown.
He said I'm about to die, so I'm gonna tell him all the Lions. I ain't gonna tell about what I was doing.
Exactly.
So today is 2 weeks ago. It was an anniversary of a major catastrophic event that happened in Philadelphia. It was the MOVE bombing on May 13th, 1985. Again, the last two episodes we had a lot going on, so we didn't really get a chance to get into some of the topics that we had. May 13th, 1985, to give you some type of idea, I was about probably 5 years old at that time. 6, yeah. I remember people in the streets of Philadelphia like beeping their horns saying like, that motherfucker, they tried to kill him. I didn't even know what they were really talking about. I was aware of the MOVE people because at that time I went to a Pan-African school, a private Pan-African school where you knew of that MOVE movement, and you knew in the 70s they didn't play. If the cops hit them, they was gonna hit them back. All that Frank Rizzo, crazy white police force, all that friction of the 70s going into the 80s, that was a serious thing. Those men knew karate. They knew how to defend themselves, and they would crack you, and you would crack them, and they would keep. It was a big crazy thing at the time.
And they were armed.
Yeah, and they did not play. Kind of like the Panther movement, but it was a Philadelphia movement. It was more so they were just independent. They were independent of the grid. They felt that they didn't need it, and people would say, certain factions would try to say they were dirty, they were nasty.
From my understanding, they wasn't as much of a political
party
party as they was a group of people who was going back to nature, right? And people on their block couldn't appreciate the lifestyle that they was taking, and was complaining about.
I don't even think it was the people on their block.
I learned once you watch that doc and you get a chance to see like when the media is outside, you get a chance to see some of the people that's outside that live in the area. You will hear some of them say a few things, but it's not like the whole neighborhood is out there protesting, trying to get them out. You're gonna have opinions.
You always gonna have
somebody got an opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean about and fearful of what they don't understand. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not saying to say the whole neighborhood was saying they wanted them out. No, and that could have been
anything.
A plant that had some other black people there talking about how they didn't appreciate it. But nonetheless, they had a different lifestyle, and they didn't do anything that was against the law. They didn't do anything that was against anything. It was their preference of life, and people couldn't appreciate it. And I guess our powers to be at that time just determined they shouldn't live. The white supremacy at that time.
The city at the time, they did not appreciate.
And it also happened on Wilson Good watch.
So Wilson Good was
okay to bomb?
No. The bombing was orchestrated by William Richards and George Sambro. George Sambro, I'm probably saying his name wrong. He was the police commissioner at the time, and the fire commissioner was William C. Richard.
Yeah, that's why I said on his watch. It happened on his watch,
yes.
not by his hand.
I thought he took the rap for it.
Huh?
That's the thing.
It was because it was Rizzo regime, Rizzo politics. Rizzo regime, Rizzo politics.
So what was his position at this time?
He was not in the. If you remember, see.
Rizzo at that time.
In the 70s, Rizzo ran the police. If somebody look up Rizzo career, please. Rizzo ran the police in the 70s.
Right.
In the 70s, the police was some knock down, drag them out, I'm gonna whip your black ass.
Oh, so Rizzo was the commissioner in the '70s.
Yes, and he allowed
Oh, he started
that militant white man, I'm gonna beat your ass shit.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, and even if he did, I'm not gonna say he
He
started
was the
it.
police commissioner
In what year?
from 1968 to 1971.
Yeah, move happened. What we talking about happened in 1985.
85.
And what I'm saying is that.
And then he was mayor between 72.
Yeah, he was the mayor, and if you remember, he was actually going to be the mayor again. But a lot of people don't. And this is something different. But I'll just give y'all something that y'all probably too young to even know. But before Ed Rendell became the mayor on his first run, which would probably been like 90, 92, I can't remember the exact year, Rizzo had Rendell beat by a landslide, and Rizzo was going to be the mayor of Philadelphia. Rizzo somehow died. Don't nobody know how Rizzo died. He just died in his sleep or something. When Rizzo dies, Ed Rendell was able to get in office. When Ed Rendell got in office, well, I will say, because I mean, I don't have no proof of this, but if you notice, Rite Aid became a national chain in Philadelphia. I'm not saying he was in bed with Rite Aid, but you know, as big as Rendell got, as big as Rite Aid got. Maybe it was a coincidence, I don't know. But so it was a plan put together that Rendell would somehow become the mayor and be a successful mayor for 8 years, and also go to the governor and be a successful governor for 8 years. So if you look at it, it was some weird stuff going on there. Rendell was actually, I want to say he was a DA. Rendell was a DA at some point,
Yeah.
like Lynn Abraham, and he had his hands on some other questionable things at the time also. But you know, that just gave the climate of the time.
Okay to do the bomb, Rizzo gave a thumbs up. That was the thing. They kind of looked at him, like you said, they looked up to him as a superior.
Yeah, but he wasn't in
So
that.
he
He
was-
wasn't. He
yeah,
wasn't.
Yeah, so you kind of got to
Yeah, he
take
was-
back. You kind of got to take back that he gave a thumbs up
He was
because
the lawyer and the prosecutor.
so he had no. He didn't
Oh,
have any.
Ed Rendell, right? Yeah.
So if I went to y'all for like advice, that's basically what they did. They went to him for advice.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I know.
Because he was
Yeah.
respected.
He was
Respected, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
But he had no more position at that time. He had no more power.
so
but,
it would be just like if you on a job. Sometimes they may make you the general foreman.
and the guy retired or something, you might.
Yeah, and you know how it be. Certain nationalities don't list the other nationalities. So I mean, could William and George been like, we ain't even talking to he ain't our mayor.
Yeah.
My mayor is Rizzo. Who knows what the climate was in that office?
Right.
You know, that black man probably was up in there, you know, under a lot of duress, like almost to the point where they probably didn't talk to him about that. I don't know.
But you can only imagine that the further back you go, the worse this type of stuff was going on. So you know.
Yeah, I can imagine that it wasn't too much being given. I don't think he was the type of guy that would have went in there and knocked nobody upside their head for doing that, or at least went on the news and say I did not. He didn't distance himself and say I did not say that. He did not press charges. Yeah, he did not press charges on the fire commissioner or the police commissioner. There was never an investigation as far as actually charging them with mass murder.
Right.
We're talking about 2 blocks. And I want to say right after, not only the fire commissioner telling people not to try to put out the fire, I want to say like 2 days later, they went as far as start knocking down the buildings, which is unheard of for a crime scene like that. And then after that, they even saying now, whereas we almost, I guess we 30 years later removed from this, over 30, and they're finding some of the body parts that was in there are in University of Penn and in Princeton in the schools where it's a part of like a exhibit. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. See, it's that they have a whoever these people that run certain parts of this world. I don't know what is so profitable from black trauma.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Black
Because it has to
everybody
be.
wants to profit off of black trauma. Whether it's us profiting off each other, whether it's in the music, whether it's in Sarah Barton. I don't know if this story is true, but the lady had the big behind. She was like one of the first ladies ever with the big barn. Yeah, they made it like a zoo, and then when she died, they cut her butt off, put it in jars and shit.
Yeah.
Like it is a, these people study us, they rip us apart. It's almost like the people who want to be you so bad, but because they can't be you, they will do everything in their power to rip you down, and at least mess your mind to make you think
that
you're
you're
worthy.
nobody. Yeah,
they do anything to bring you down.
Hate you because they hate you. Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's everybody. I'm saying it is a certain group of people who push the narrative. Yes. Yes, it's a certain group that push the narrative of that we're inferior, they're superior, and it's just the furthest thing from the truth. You know what I mean? So yeah, that move thing was it's a very serious thing, and the fact that they even found the body parts and stuff over there. It's a pretty long article that was in the New York Times on a week of the 13th. We'll put it.
So
on.
how can that even be legal?
I don't even know how to. You know, who knows?
Yeah,
like
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you took something from a crime scene,
Right.
But again, you come in there with bulldozers and stuff.
And no family members to say that you can have.
You know, you come in with bulldozers, yeah, and on top of that, and the rest of the body remains that was left, the city coroner gave the okay to burn up the rest of the stuff, like just burn up the bodies.
Wow.
So the people never even had the right to even grab their family. So like that's egregious. I think he the city person resigned. I want to say he resigned last week, and Mayor Kenny had to kind of get up there and talk about it.
Wow.
So I know, you know.
So he resigned before he got fired and lost all his.
Yeah, but you know, did he resign or they just say, hey, just take your time and relax?
Yeah.
He was there for 40 years.
Yeah.
It's not like he's not going to have a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like he's not going to have an income.
Right. He's definitely
You
having.
know, he's still going to have an income. So, like I said, man, it's a deep story about the move people. You know, Ramona African, them later, they did wind up getting a substantial, you know, piece of money, but nothing there what they should have gotten for what happened to them. So, I mean, I don't think we're going to see another bombing in our lifetime, but I could be completely wrong.
You seen that or not?
No. I'm just saying. Well, you know, Tulsa, Oklahoma is the one bombing that was in the
Yeah.
30s or something like that. And then you got this one in 1985. So I don't think another one will happen, but who knows?
I mean, who would have thought you were seeing, you know, all these kids being shot by cops and all that? I mean, still going on.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, live and direct.
Yeah.
And Tulsa, Oklahoma was the first one recorded. There was one in Chicago, and my understanding, it was way more than that. That was the first one.
Yeah,
Everybody
there
had
was
to
a bunch of Tulsa, Oklahomans that happened.
That was the first one I was actually seeing, because back in the days,
Yeah, you
would
only
watch
hear
the
about it.
news,
Yeah,
you had to look
yeah.
at pictures and watch the news.
Right.
That's when they showed it.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, same thing how George Floyd is right now.
Yeah.
There's been tons of George Floyds throughout trial. You know,
Yeah,
growing
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
It's the
definitely.
first one that you can, usually
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, I mean, shit, to me, Rodney King was the first George Floyd.
Yeah.
For what I ever saw.
Except he, you know, they didn't murder him.
Yeah. Bobby saying the first time you ever
You ever
seen
heard that? Yeah, and we
you
saw
ever
him
seen-
riots from it and all that
Yeah,
type
it was
of
the
stuff.
first
Yeah.
one, like from my generation.
So wait, did y'all go out doing the Rodney King riot?
No, they didn't ride in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that was in LA,
riot-
right?
Yeah, that was LA.
Yeah.
Only riot in Philadelphia ever happened. It was before our age. It would be King. Well, I'm sorry. When Martin Luther King got killed, it was a big riot. But I'm sorry, Tougher Than Leather. It was a super riot for Tougher Than Leather.
Fuck is
That,
that?
In Philly?
yes, right outside the Foot Locker. Yes. And on
You
Foot
talking
Locker
about
on Chestnut Street.
for
Run DMC movie.
DMC movie? That was
Yes.
the first movie.
Yes.
But what did they write about Tougher Than Leather?
No, they just was rioting. I mean,
Oh,
it was
because
just
the movie was so good.
No, man, it was we all down here. I'm gonna take some sneakers. Dog, y'all be forgetting sneakers was like gold
Yeah,
back
yeah,
back
absolutely,
in back in
absolutely.
I guess that's
Shell
like
tops.
89. Yeah, so they all sit down there and man, you know how it is, man. You gotta think. What is downtown? Yeah, what is downtown growing up back then? It's North Philly and South Philly.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, the West Philly and South West could have been there, but it's mainly
North Philly and
North
South
Philly and South Philly, you know, and one of those movie theaters used to be two on Chestnut Street. One of them, the line wrapped around the corner, it was a Foot Locker on the corner, and motherfuckers got bored and they just went to
Wow.
town. That type of stuff.
But they ain't burned the city down though.
No. It's just a
Like
riot.
they
Yeah,
did
just-
Ridge Avenue.
No. Ridge Avenue, they ripped the shreds. So yeah, so only major riot before George Floyd in this city, as far as that, would be when the King riots.
Oh shit.
I mean, they probably had little baby ones but I'm just talking about ones of like drastic,
Real shit.
yeah, drastic when a lot of stuff.
Like we took
So
ourselves
wait.
back.
Alright,
We did
they're
that
not,
with
they're
Ridge
not
Avenue.
riots, protesting. Did y'all ever hit the streets?
For a protest?
Yeah.
Nah.
No, not my. No, I went to the Million Man March.
That's what I was about to say.
I never-
The only thing I did go to the first Million Man March.
Yeah, I went to the first one. The first Million Man March I went to. It wasn't, believe it or not. So you gotta look at our ages and stuff. When we coming out like the 80s and shit, Philadelphia was like, for one, Philadelphia is a very segregated town in that
Right.
time. So it ain't like we all living and mixing around each other anyway. White people were in the Northeast, black people was in North Philly, South Philly, West Philly, some of Southwest, You know what I mean? So it wasn't like anybody be intermingling with each other. Everybody was on their side of the city.
Yeah.
And it was such a black pride movement in Philadelphia at that time. It was never, think about Philadelphia, you never felt inferior to white people.
Right.
I mean, not the people I was around. I can't say nobody didn't, but
Yeah, but no,
it
not
was,
the people I was around.
yeah, it was a very strong black movement. So whether your parents was in the Panthers or whether you were with Mount Lion Karinga or whether you just was just a strong black person, you never felt inferior to nobody. You were a man like they were a man, and you were going to be, it's going to be respect. It wasn't about money back then,
Right.
because nobody really had money. It was about you're going to respect me,
Right.
and it was understood. Like it was at a time where certain people knew that if they tried the wrong shit, they punch in. You gonna get punched in the mouth.
So what was your experience with the Million Man March? Who'd you go with?
So I went with my uncles and them in 1995. My uncle rented a bus. He burned out Russell out Francisville. And he pretty much got everybody in the area to go. Probably about 2 or 3 hustlers stayed back to make sure the money still came to their people. But for the most part, it was like a whole neighborhood trip.
Yeah,
We all went down there, and it's a pretty interesting experience. So like I said, so back when we was growing up, like white people weren't never in our neighborhood. So you wouldn't hear about nobody white like
Unless it's the cops.
yeah. It wouldn't be no white person just running into North Philly or anywhere else, South Philly, just saying, "Get out of here, you nigga!" Like, well, maybe in South Philly they had their sections,
Yeah.
and they had their own sections. They stayed on their sections, and we stayed on our sections.
Yeah, I
Like,
know anything.
yeah.
So when you went there, because I went the same time, but a lot of people, it was like mixed feelings about it. A lot of people say, all right, we got 1 million guys, 1 million black men, and we went down there, but
What was the result?
What was the result? And that was a lot of questions. You don't always have negative,
nigga,
nasty motherfuckers, you know what I mean, asking that question when you came back. So what do y'all get out of it? So, my thing is, at that time, that had never happened before. You understand what I'm saying?
This pre-social media.
This is pre-social media. So for somebody to get 1 million black men from all over the country through word of mouth to come to DC,
No violence, neither.
no violence, everything in harmony. I mean, everybody in harmony. It was unbelievable. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable to see. So I think if nothing else, I mean, it was a momentum that we could have capitalized off of just from seeing, like, hey, we really can do.
Yeah,
We can do anything.
Together. Yeah,
you know what I mean? We come together, and it was serene. The atmosphere was unbelievable.
It wasn't like back in the day with like what these niggas looking at.
Yeah, nah.
It was real relaxed.
We was
and
down
chill.
there, man. When
And
they
we
had
part of the
like
projects.
yeah, when they was like doing like little, moments of silence, man. Guys held hands that you don't even know.
Yeah.
My father took me and a bunch of guys from my neighborhood down, and we just rolled down and we met people when we was down there. We was walking around trying to find spots, go to get something to eat. But we had guys walking around with us who we'd never seen
from
before.
another part of the
You know what I mean?
country,
And it wasn't awkward. It wasn't weird. It wasn't nothing. It was like, brother, we going this way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
It wasn't
so-
called. It wasn't considered dicky.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
called.
yeah,
It was,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
seriously,
yeah.
because that's what we would say. That's that term I hate so much
Yeah.
because it stops brotherhood from being
and
developed.
it came around that time.
Right
So
after that,
a little after that,
is
little
when
after
the
that.
dicky started. You know what I mean?
So I know I was a little late. I apologize for that. What was your takeaway though? I'm curious because that was something that I guess even though they had the women's march, I didn't partake. You know what I mean? And considering we had parents that were so involved in those type of movements, and what was your
So
takeaway?
my takeaway from it was it's funny, right? Kind of like how he was saying about the negative Nancy people. The people like, man. See, for me, when I was at the Million Man March, because my mind is always on money, I saw them little boxes they was passing around, putting money in, and I'm like, all
Oh, they
right.
were collecting money too.
Yeah, for whatever they was doing, and I can't even say that was for the nation. I don't know if that was somebody just a clever.
It was so
idea
many
or what.
different things.
Yeah,
It was
so many different things I
Yeah.
couldn't even tell you. So my takeaway from it was it was beautiful. I've never seen a sea of black fists going up and down at the one command of one man
Yeah.
on a stage saying something, and everybody like it was amazing.
Yeah.
So the unity aspect of it, the mojo of it was amazing. I appreciate it. I'm glad I saw it. But is it something I would go to like every time they have one? Probably not. Because for me, it's like we all know it's a problem. We have the unity. We have to really make a real economic plan at this point. You know what I mean? But I did love the fact that I never thought that you could have 1 million black people somewhere and it would be no violence.
Yeah.
Case in point, when I was young, my first rap concert I ever went to was NWA and Public Enemy. They fought in that motherfucker, and it was only probably 22,000 people in there,
Yeah.
and they fought up and down the spectrum like cats and dogs. But for Farrakhan, he brought people from black people all around this country, and black men were black men. They just were. It was black men. It wasn't none of that stupid shit that you're looking at,
Yeah.
jealousy and that. And it wasn't nobody out there showboating either.
Yeah.
It was quite sure it was people out there who had money.
Yeah, I'm
but
sure.
nobody
It
was out there
was not
showboating.
that type of atmosphere.
Everybody was just on the. It was a chill vibe. I mean, we walked from the projects near RFK all the way down to I went to the Capitol.
Yeah.
My takeaway was, at that time I was young. I want to say I had to been about, I want to say I was 12 or something like that. How
Really?
old do you think you
That's
was?
how old
I had to be. We were like 3 years apart.
Yeah.
I was either in 10th grade or 11th grade. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
talking about it in school because I missed the day.
something like
talking about it in
that. Somewhere,
class.
if I wasn't 12, I was maybe 13 or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
But
I definitely wasn't 16. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
15. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have been 15.
So my takeaway from it was, wow. It was two things. It was wow. There are, more people, that's like my parents and this country, because the media shows us the opposite of who we are. So you get a chance to see more of who we're not than you get to really see who we really are if you talk about in terms of media and stuff. So to be able to leave your city and go see people from all over the country and everybody there positive, and they remind you of the type of person that your parents is raising you to be. That was my takeaway. Like, wow, we can behave, we can be well mannered, and not only that, I've seen people who weren't always well mannered from my neighborhood down there being
Acting
act
So with that
correctly.
being said,
So it was a thing where, wow, what these guys are talking about, what these people are talking about up on the stage, they absolutely right. We really can turn this thing over. We don't have to be this way, because I'm looking at guys who I didn't think can turn it over down there well behaved. So it was.
So with that being said, do you think we need to be policed? Do you think, like, right now, their idea of defunding the police, do you think that that's something that as a city of Philadelphia that we can kind of adopt that,
I know. And the
Mindset.
reason why I say no is because 1995 a black man is different from a black man in 2021. So when I say that is that 1995, you're not too far off from fathers being in the home. It was just when fathers stopped being in the home. Coming up, you had the crack era, Now we 20 years different removed from there. And now we have young children out here, young adults who have no concept of life, have no concept of being disciplined and things like that. And you take the police out of there, a person, I'm gonna be good. But for somebody that's meek or weak, who don't know how to really survive in some crazy shit, they will have a problem. Like, seriously, because you gotta think it's a predatory mindset. It's a predatory mindset when we have a lifestyle of haves and have-nots.
so that
that whole thing scares me a little bit. Like, so when you say defund the police and
I'm just
bring
looking
them
at
down,
like other countries that
No,
don't have
no,
police
no.
on the streets,
I understand,
or
but I feel like in this country they feel like we need to be police, and I'm talking about black people in general. We need to be policed. So once you remove the police, even if we could do it and we could stand and we wouldn't have any issues, we stir the pot so much in this country. I can see them removing the police, stirring the pot, letting it get real chaotic, and then
By myself.
then next thing you know, now we're going through what they tried to
Worse
do.
times.
We're more than police. We got National Guards here now.
What's that shit called?
Martial law.
Martial
Martial
law.
law.
We got martial law now. So I don't want to see any experiments being done, because I know that's exactly what it will be.
Yeah.
They take the police out, now they stirring the pot on the media. People doing this, preparing for looting, preparing for this, where ain't nobody even thinking about it.
Yeah.
You instigating the situation. So I can see that going a whole nother direction.
Honestly, we live in. Go. You have something to say? Go ahead.
Before you go too far away from Farrakhan, because Farrakhan is who he was, do y'all think that's why it was so big? Because I know if you're Muslim, you may know who Farrakhan. I mean, I'm not Muslim, I don't know who Farrakhan is.
I'm
But
not
people
even,
might
but
not know who he was, and he stood for his business and his brotherhood, and on being a man and being a protector.
right,
So y'all had that generation now, we don't have that.
right.
So it's just like, how can we compare?
But honestly, from my understanding, the Islamic world does not respect Farrakhan in regard to how he Well, I guess it probably is 50-50, but a lot of people do speak on, you know, his indiscretions and how he went about the religion. So they don't necessarily deem him as their leader.
Well, yeah, and then that's another thing too,
Yeah,
because there's so
Yeah,
many,
definitely,
there's so many
definitely.
different,
Dynamics
there's so many different
that-
dynamics of Islam. So of course, if you're talking about a person who's like a Sunni Muslim,
Yeah.
and then you're talking about a person that's in the nation, he's
Two
he's not their
different-
follower,
yeah.
right? It's different. So it's so many groups of Islamic parties that it's
I
kind
guess
of
I'm
hard
just
to.
looking at it and thinking and listening. If something like that was able to be, you know, done almost more than 20 years ago, right? And you, like you
Way more
said,
than 20 years ago. Maybe shit. This is
25, you 35, 40, oh yeah, you over
Yeah.
40, sir.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
over
exactly.
25 years, right? No, not putting it out
I
there.
don't know.
But that was word of mouth, right? And I'm not
No
saying
social media. No.
I'm not saying defund the police is a tool or strategy that we should implement, but what I'm saying is I feel like, you know, so many times we've talked about the problem, and I'm now hearing real strategies of trying to come up with solutions. You know what I mean? Like listening to these young people. I share with you guys in regard to, you know, the special that came on in regards to George Floyd and everything that's happened, you know, since that time frame. And these young people feel, I just feel like they're not stopping. They're doing things that are out of the box. You know, just in regard to the schools now calling people about voting every time the election is coming up, disseminating information on who that party is and what they stand for. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I'm not as active as I need to be because there's a lot of things going on in regards to reform and Black Lives Matter. And it's like, yeah, I'm talking about it, but it's a lot of people that's really shaking and moving in regards to, you know, committing to seeing change.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but like even when you look at defunding the police, right? These same neighborhoods have been fucking. I mean,
Wars.
not that. They have pumped so many guns and drugs into our neighborhood, right? Like literally, like we have an uncontrollable amount. Actually, what a lot of people don't know is that Pennsylvania is on something called the Iron Pipeline. The Iron Pipeline starts in Florida and it goes all the way up to Maine.
The Iron Pipeline?
The Iron Pipeline means that you buy guns cheaply down south, all the way up to Pennsylvania, and you straw purchase and you put them back into the major cities. You sell, you know what I mean? You buy them cheap down south. These little handguns that cost probably $100 down south, they retail for like $400 up
So
north.
can we pause real quick? Are there not serial numbers on these guns, or are they removed?
So I'm going to answer the question for
Okay.
you now. All of a sudden, the serial numbers are on some, and yes, you can remove them, but past that, it became those guns that's like you can put them together. They used to be like zip guns with my dad,
Okay.
but now they're actual real guns that will bust you in your head, where it's just pieces that you buy and manufacture and put them together. It's the same thing as having a 9,
Right.
and you can bust somebody down with it like it ain't nothing.
So what they selling it like kits? They're like kits.
They call
But they-
those guns.
Ghost
Now,
guns.
What?
Exactly.
Wow.
They're called ghost guns. And what I'm telling you is that on this Iron Pipeline, you have ghost guns in all these major urban
Like you buy it
areas.
as a kit.
Yeah,
Right.
You buy them as a kit.
And you gotta put them together, get the
Yeah.
building. Yeah.
That's what makes it not.
Not
My-
illegal.
Right,
Exactly.
right,
Wow.
right.
My homie built an AR in his basement.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm telling you.
okay.
So when you on this
And
Iron
that
Pipeline,
shit's so easy.
And
So is that a ghost?
And
Is
kids
his
know
is a
about it.
ghost gun also?
He was saying some cool shit. I ain't gonna say it, but that nigga was like, look, boo, boo, boo. He's like, I bought this piece.
Yep.
Smack
No
that shit
cereal.
together.
You know, and what was his purpose?
To protect himself.
Protect yourself.
So
can't have nobody
you don't need a
control.
regular little gun. You need a whole machine gun to protect yourself.
Well, if you're talking about
And what-
defunding the police,
You
then
can't tell somebody how to protect themselves.
But what I'm
I need to
saying-
give you one.
Y'all laughing. I don't think
No, I'm
it's a
saying
funny
if you talking about
situation.
if you talking about
yeah,
defunding
but
the police,
you gotta
I'm not talking about it. I'm just bringing up the things in regard to what we can do. What does that look like? You know what I mean? The money that we're putting out as citizens, we paying people the FSF basically. We paying.
What's up?
Defunding the police is not taking the job away from the police. It's the funding, the money that they get, the extra stuff that they get, they do other stuff with, they're just taking man.
Like buying the
they're-
buying the
they
armored
go
trucks and
away
shit.
softball
Yeah.
with each other and
The
stuff.
POW, stuff like that.
You mean
That's what they're taking away.
They
So
taking
the
away
pension
POW?
and all that stuff like yeah, because that's us
They
giving
take
us
away
the
their
people
money.
that's donating money to do things for the community. But the thing is, they feel as though you're not.
How
doing
does
anything
that
with
help?
this-
How does that
You're
help?
not even doing anything with the money. I got a person that is I don't know, he may be on the spectrum, and it should be a department to deal with those type of people. But
Exactly.
that we give you money to fund that, but you're not doing anything with
Right.
it, and then you kill them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the purpose of defunding the police. A lot of people have that fucked up, so that's where they're buying guns and all. It's the media. It's
So
not
you
really.
mean,
It's
you
not
mean,
really.
you mean it's the wasteful pork spending. As the Republicans would call it, the wasteful pork spending
It's-
is the
It's the same. It's the
And,
same.
and I think they just want more legislation in regards to how the funds are allocated. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's not so much defund, like we don't need policing, but it has to look differently because the people who are paying these monies out, paying their tax dollars, are not, number one, feeling safe. And is now we have a voice. I think people are now realizing that we have more voice than we thought we did. You know, now what are we saying with it?
Right.
But we gotta make steps forward. Defund is throwing out ideas like, yeah, we see you motherfuckers, and we coming up with some solutions, and we not backing down.
Right.
Yeah, because like you have certain areas. So if I live, like me and her was just trying to purchase some equipment for this. Like of course, like when you purchase a car, put your zip code in, and you get your area, and blah blah blah. But with that funding, you could put playgrounds there, so the kids don't have to play in the street. There's a lot of things you can do with that funding. That's that they're opposed to doing. That's not there. That was the purpose of POW. You know,
Right.
you go to POW, it's a place to play for inner city kids that don't have,
Right.
you know, a playground.
Right.
It's not happening no more. It's
Yeah.
it's not even like what it once was. So it's like, where
The
is this
pools
money?
are closed,
Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
type of
Yeah.
things.
Right.
I grew up with a wreck. Like all our wrecks is closed around my neighborhood.
Exactly.
Really?
For years.
Yeah.
So where's the money going though? And that's where the defunding is, because if I'm giving you all of this funding, what are we doing?
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Forget the tax dollars. This is the funding that we're talking about. That's two different things. So it's like, it doesn't stop them from policing, it doesn't take anything from their pension, it doesn't even take them anything away from them making new hires. It's just taking that money that they're not doing anything with, so that we can do stuff in our communities and make things happen.
Yeah.
For the kids.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
They don't have any place to play, they don't have anything to do.
And you know, you try to be political to a certain degree, right? And I don't know how much sense this makes, but somebody from New York, right? This was her perspective. She was telling me, you know how, like you said, with the census, or you put your zip code in and they can kind of make a configuration, or your insurance might be depending on what area you live in and those things, right? So this woman was telling me how her party is Republican. And the reason that she does, like she, you know, has on her card Republican, because she learned that her neighborhood is predominantly Republic, right?
Okay.
Regardless of how she vote when the ballot come out, by her having a Republican neighborhood, they have the streets that are constantly being serviced. They have the, you know, trash patrol. They have all those variances in place. And I was like, you know, it sounds good, but you don't really know how to implement those. But it's all about playing this political game, because that's how they allocate dollars and cents in the funding in schools. And you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
You know, we got to learn how to play this game better, but it starts with reading and becoming knowledgeable. Listen, you know, I was thinking about it in so many
Carlos
variances.
Vega be your DA right now if everybody switched to
It's
Republican.
like we all switched, but when we voted, we still
Exactly.
voted Democrat.
Just like how you said all those people ran to switch their party, right? You know what I mean? Like, they did that for a reason. Because they knew things were not, no equity going on.
It was a futile attempt from the FOP. It was a waste of time. Like it was.
But did it get us what we needed?
No, that wasn't for us. That was for those people who switched their party, who did that to vote for the other
For
people.
Krasner?
No, not for Krasner.
Oh.
For Vega.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
it's like-
upside down. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So
All right.
imagine if everybody we're
Did
this
it,
area.
and it reversed it.
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
Okay. All right. All I'm saying is I'm tired of talking about the problems. We got to figure out some.
So do you think we shouldn't be? What are your thoughts when she asked the question about being police? Do you think we should be police though?
I mean, I'm gonna be quite honest with you, right? We in here right now. We in a pretty good area right now. Somebody came in here with a gun and stuck us all up, took all the camera equipment and everything like that. I don't think not one of us is going to be sitting here talking about, I'm going to go get a gun and go get the stuff back. I'm quite sure we're going to call the police
Right.
to say,
Right.
you know, XYZ.
Right.
Hey,
Getting my stuff back.
oh, okay, well, Bert,
First off,
what I'm saying to you is that like everybody here pay some type of taxes.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. One time in Atlanta, they did something right when that little girl got shot in the head at Wendy's. They told the police like back off or something amnesia, and all the cops took off. This happened like a year ago.
Right.
And when the police took off, some fool started shooting. Little girl gets shot. She dies. She bleed out because there was no type of order around it. What I'm saying is that if they ready to give us all back our money for taxes, and they gonna give everybody back their money, and say, hey, y'all can buy your own police or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's so much deeper
Protect
than
yourself.
just hey, one day, hey, no more police.
But see, defunding for me looks like what you just said, calling them for serious matters that honestly, now when we call, they don't even come to certain things.
Yeah, they said
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about calling and being able to be
It's horrible
service.
right now. They said right now, some of the police, and I'm not saying all of them, but they're saying some calls they make, they said it's almost like making them for no reason. Because
They got
nobody's showing
priority.
up. Yeah, well, not even priority. It's almost like it's an undercurrent amongst certain nationalities in the police force where they like, fuck them people.
Yeah.
Say
Like
what?
that's
Every
that's
time
what
we
I'm
turn around,
saying.
they call.
That's what I'm saying.
So-
We pay their salaries. That makes absolutely
Yeah.
no sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happens when you have people on the force, that the people who got to protect people who they never respected. Because if we was in somewhere in Roxborough or something went wrong, if we was up here right now,
You already know they be here in 2.5 seconds.
we up here under the strictest rules that you know. What I mean, we up here under a contract and everything. We bonded. If we went outside right now while we was leaving and got into an argument with one of the other shop owners around here, and when they pull up, because all the other shop owners don't look like us.
No.
What do you think is going to happen when they pull up and see us? Especially if
coming
it's
right at
all
us.
of us. Especially if it's all of us outside.
They coming right at
They gonna
us.
tell us, man, yo, you know, and it's gonna be so.
Break it up.
They might see us
That's
leaving
the first thing,
They
right?
might see us
Break
leaving
it
today and tell us
up.
to break it up.
Yo, you got
So-
their gang.
But I'm not gonna say like I think it should be the Wild Wild West though. If it was a different era, like if we still had the love for our neighbor like how we had in the 70s and the 60s, it was still fighting and stupid stuff going on, but it was still a certain type of community.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Down to the point that we still got up and clean blocks up into the 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We still got up
Yeah.
every Saturday
And a
morning.
little bit of 90s, a little
Yeah,
bit of
and
90s.
It was
maybe
just
some
talking about
yeah.
this.
So-
Totally different.
So what I'm saying is that we don't even clean up our blocks no more. You think I trust somebody out here to look after the welfare of my family?
Right.
We don't even know our neighbors. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what we were
so-
talking about last
week,
week.
yeah, we talked about that last
literally.
week, yeah.
You know?
Used to be like, hey miss, your mom and your mom come over here.
Yeah.
You
Not no
can't
more.
do that.
Yes.
Nope.
And that was like that when I was young. So it's just like,
Yeah.
People don't even they close their window just to act like they ain't see what happened. You know what I mean? They just turn their head. They don't even want no parts.
Nobody gets involved anymore.
Yeah. It could be something tragic going on.
Yeah, so
They will close their eyeballs.
Because no matter how vast the problem is, you guys said, you two already seen the solution. Love your brother like you love yourself, like you said. That is the first step. Because if I love you like I love myself, I'm not gonna give you fentanyl. I'm not
Right.
gonna give you no dog.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna take it.
Yeah.
So I love you like I love me.
Exactly.
I'm not going to do your child wrong.
Yes.
I'm not going to sell your child in the trafficking
Right,
or whatever.
right.
Because I love you like I love me.
Absolutely.
Which is what we had in the 80s coming all the way
Thank
up.
you.
But then some way, somehow around the 90s, 2000, shit changed.
A little bit
You know
in it,
what I'm
little
The
bit in
saying?
the 80s,
drugs,
little bit in
the
the 80s.
this, to that,
Yeah, the drugs and the drugs,
people lost or people gained self-hatred. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't love your neighbor if you have self-hatred, because when you look on TV, you see the long hair and blue eyes and you can't identify it,
But-
you know, so you know, just all that self-hatred is like, how can you truly love a person? That's just like even people with in relationships. You know, 1 minute y'all laying down together, the next day I hate you, you got a knife. It's just all kinds of levels of, did you ever truly care and love that
The key thing that
person?
you said, the key thing you said was the TV. You said they look at the TV. Walk outside. Think about it. When we were young, we didn't watch much TV. Wasn't shit on. Let's keep it a bean. Wasn't really shit on
And
TV.
the somebody was
And
Bill
outside-
Cosby. It was stuff
and-
that,
Right, but outside was fun.
Yeah.
So your everyday was right here, right next to you, the whole time. Now they put these miniature televisions in our palms, and now we comparing, feeling afflicted, feeling like we lost our lives. Why they got it, I don't.
Yeah.
Not knowing that they lying too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Exactly. They
now
miserable
we're
as
all-
heck.
Right, and we're all in this self-imposed
trying to get what they
does nothing but make your eye evil towards your brother or sister.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, that's why I said does not want what your brother got.
Yeah.
Right.
Be happy for what you got.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because who knows, you might have more than your brother later. But it's not about more or less. It's about what's
Self.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
People got to figure out what's going on with
And
them.
that's where we lost it.
That's-
And I
That's
think
the focus. That should be the focus.
honestly, I think that we losing in elementary school. When you go into school as a child, you kind of already know what you want and what you want to be. And you're still figuring it out. You know what they do? They stand in front of you and say, "You going to college?" But what if what you want to do in life doesn't require college?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now you put me in. I remember in 11th grade, I almost lost my mind because I didn't know where I wanted to go for college.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna let my siblings down
Yeah.
because I didn't know where the fuck I wanted to go for
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's bullshit.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
It's crazy. I just left a phone conversation because my girlfriend, her daughter is, filling out her form, so they keep calling me, asking me questions and so forth. But what you said is right there it's just right there. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is when you form at an early age, number one, I can kind of sense who's going to be what from a young age. Meaning, who has the tenacity or the drive to not listen to their fellow neighbor.
Right.
Not get caught up in, I gotta have these sneakers because
Right.
this guy got, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You see those students who are just independent and self-thinkers and not influenced by what somebody else is doing, saying, or thinking or believing. Those are the ones that, truly excel in life. And not to, take away from anybody else, but, and it got to be hard. But when I was watching again, to go back to the George Floyd thing, this young activist or, whoever, poet, whatever she was speaking of rage. She was speaking of having rage or what she would tell her younger self. And she was saying, I would tell my younger self that you're going to experience hardship. I would tell my younger self that you're going to feel rage. And as I'm listening to, all these people sharing out, I couldn't identify with what that looked like.
Okay.
Like, how could somebody in their 20s, 25, in my opinion, as a 40-plus-year-old woman, what does that look like? Is my daughter experiencing rage because she can't make a decision? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this generation, because of the TV, and now in addition to TV, we got social media, we got, TikTok, we got people commenting on your world so much so that people are committing suicide and things like that. It's like, I don't even know how they do it personally, you know what I mean? That's why I don't have no parts of social media. I ain't trying to hear what nobody got to say. I don't even want to dwell into that world. But again, where's the foundation? We had 1 million men get together, but for what purpose? Those 1 million men, what did they change for these upcoming men or young men?
it's a vision.
That's why they just showed
Like
it.
how
The love, right? But what's the love?
Not only that, it was a message. It was
But
a
what did they
message.
do after is what I'm saying. Just like how you said,
They did a lot after. See, the thing is, it's the phone.
yeah.
The phone took everything away. So media controls everything right now. When we were kids, we had stages of growing up. The phone takes that away. My friends and there were girls didn't wear makeup until prom. They're wearing it now.
Yes.
Kindergarten and second
Came home and
grade.
learned
Yeah.
So
that
the
today.
thing is like, that's the problem. But with that problem, we still have a lot of young people that are voting that have never,
Yes.
my age group, nobody wanted to vote.
Mhm.
Now, so it's a lot good.
It's
that is-
against.
Yeah,
It's like a catch-22.
But
it's a big catch-22.
I got a question. I have a question. When everybody asks what did they do, I want to know what was expected of a one-day march. What did everybody who didn't go and didn't see the vision and didn't get, what was they expecting to happen? It was everything that we went through and everything that we was going through and all of the conditions that we are under was going to change that day. I don't think nobody who went down there thought that. It's the initiative to get down there. You got to start the thing. You understand what I'm saying?
I feel
Yeah.
like they did a lot though. Because
But I mean, they did. But what was they expecting? Like
Yeah.
rapid?
Yeah, you can't.
But
You
no,
know what I'm saying?
I don't think for
Yeah.
things that happen overnight. But for example, I went to like this ceremony where they were highlighting all these black men from Philadelphia, right? And they were, I guess, professional men, from every sector. And it was a great ceremony, right? But because I knew one of the men firsthand, I guess in my mind, I was looking for what's next. You know, if you've been highlighted and, you know, the community is saying that you have done X, Y, Z, and that, you know, you are deemed as this man, this prolific person that, you know, is a role model, what are you doing on a daily basis? Because from my perspective, I knew this person. You understand what I'm saying? It was an oxymoron between what people were highlighting him for versus his daily accord.
Okay.
It didn't align. So when I talk about what you're going to do with it, I mean, you had 1 million men, right? Out of those 1 million men, out of those group of men, are they up to date on their child support? Oh, out of those 1 million men, what did they, that even if they was behind, that next day, did they say, you know what, I'm gonna try to get on a payment plan? Am I, like, it's one.
Well, I think the ones that went down there was probably people that wasn't behind.
You'd be surprised.
No,
You'd be surprised. You know, I doubt that.
Bullshit.
I doubt that, but you know, it's just crazy to me how you'll have so many single, like, boys that was raised in single family homes, but then will in turn do the same thing and watch the mother of their children struggle with their children because they feel some kind of way, or that love has now disseminated. You know what I mean?
That's the equal eye.
But you
Yeah.
hear something? Then when you asked that question, you said that what did these people do? It may have been things exactly like that. But how was we gonna see that? You can't see, like, let's say if I went there and I was on child support, I was behind, I was in arrears. You think somebody was gonna put that on the news? Damn, Mike, since he went to the child support. Like, you understand what I'm saying? You know, he really getting his shit together. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these things could have taken place.
Yeah.
But how would you have known? So that's why you can't knock it, because you don't know what kind of changes in an individual have been made since them going down there, since they've been down there. You can't say.
I can't say.
That's why you can't knock it.
But 25 years later, we just had to have.
So you did the statistics on how many people that's in arrears.
Cause you got it.
You did the statistics on arrears. 25 years later,
You know what I'm saying?
But listen, I honestly, I think that was just a show of power. To show that, look, I can organize 1 million black people. Not just
Yeah.
show. But we all know one thing in life. You do not do, marchers don't do anything. It's violence that stops this stuff. So, last year, remember, you text me, I was in Detroit. You sent me a text. I don't have it on my phone anymore, but I remember you said, what the hell is going on out here?
Yeah.
The world is coming to an end. That's a text you sent me when I was in Detroit. And what I'm saying is that, like, it took for when George Floyd got killed and for everybody to see it, and for something to drum up in everybody, and the media kept instigating it.
Yeah.
And it took for people of power to be like, yo, we thought these motherfuckers was all salt, or we thought they would just keep marching. Oh no, this is that rage we seen in the 60s. I don't care what you gotta do, everybody carve out $1 billion. Throw $1 billion in these little urban areas. They won't fuck it up. And once they got money and they'll go back to sleep, we'll get back to our oppression. But it's violence that get people attention. So if 1 million people would have went to DC and tore DC a whole new ass, it would have been a different day the next day. But he was just showing I think it was just to show brotherhood. Just probably to show because you never saw that many black people, and
it don't be something violent.
And family cookouts.
So you telling me the only time we supposed to get together is when we about to tear something up, when we about to protest?
Yeah,
why can't we get together and just talk? Why couldn't that brother just give us a message? Why couldn't the people who was on his panel just be there supporting him to give the message? Why does that have to be questioned? It was a positive thing. Why did it have to be questioned? What came out of it? Damn, like, we can't just get together.
Now,
No, I'm not saying that.
No, but you
I'm
want the
saying
only
in terms of
person.
the way the world has gone after that. That's all I'm saying. Why can't it be a steady incline? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but we
I'm scared of where we are
listen though, Champ, you got to remember that, and other than any other nationality in this country, it's one nationality that's always getting fucked with.
Let's do it. Bring
You know
it
what I'm saying?
out.
It's always one nationality that's in this country that's getting fucked with, whether it's redlining, whether it's the vaccinations that when we see when certain vaccinations given to certain minorities, certain groups, certain that's given out. It's always one. I mean, whether it's a Tuskegee, it's so much shit that they have got caught for. Imagine what they haven't gotten caught for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, like, we are preyed upon. So it's not like we just wake up and every day we want to be stupid. No, you wake up every day, next you know it's 10 fucking blocks in front of you, and you sitting there frustrated like, I can't do nothing with these fucking blocks in front of me, so I'm going to either go backwards or just start fucking myself up. Because that's how it feels when you are black in America. I'm sorry, everybody don't have this story, so maybe I can say black and poor in America, and I'm talking about financially poor, where I don't have I don't have the resources to, if I'm frustrated, I can jump on a jet and go sit in Africa for 6 months.
Right.
I don't have that Dave Chappelle access. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, we are in a place that, you know, the hell with the physical bondage, we're in mental bondage.
Yep.
If I do good for a day, my brother is probably not gonna be happy for me. You know what I'm saying? So maybe when he had that march, maybe he was trying to say, hey, listen, come down and learn how to love each other. You know, unfortunately, if social media would have been out back then, it probably would have been a great thing, because there probably been people down there really who would have became friends and been like, yo, what y'all got going on over there?
Yeah.
I love traveling across the country. I meet people from all walks of life, from all types of towns, all types of cities. But I'm not the regular person. A lot of people that we know in our lifetime, especially when you're in Philadelphia, they don't go past 3-mile radius outside of the city. And that's on the outside side. Most people don't really go off their block, their neighborhood.
Yeah,
So
man, you got people who live in South Philly who probably never been to Island.
Never seen
North
Northeast.
Never seen Northeast at all. You know what
When
I mean?
I was a kid, we would drive from North Philly up the uptown to East Oakland. It felt like I was driving to fucking Jersey. I would be just sitting in the car like,
Seemed like
I was
a
like,
long
yo,
time.
I hate coming up here. It really felt like it was a fucking trip because of all the red lights on Broad Street.
Yeah.
Like, so
Especially when Broad Street.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? All them lights, you be sitting there like,
Yeah.
shit, man, like, damn, we ain't gotta pay a toll or nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It feel like you went to a whole nother world. So imagine, but that's as a kid. As a child, felt like a child. It's people out here that really think like that now.
Right.
And that's crazy.
I get it.
So what I'm saying is that, like, when it came to what was supposed to come out that thing, I think it was enough for the younger guys who were there, him being 12, me being 15, to see that, like, you can have harmony with your brothers.
Yeah.
You can have harmony with your brothers. Because what I saw there, I have never seen again.
Yeah.
Never seen
I have
it.
never seen a million black. I've never seen. I've never even seen.
It was a real energy out there. It wasn't-
It was very, like, I never seen nothing like that, and I can always think of that and say it is for memorabilia.
Yeah.
It's for something that I know I can say I was there, I witnessed it, and I have never seen that much harmony and peace amongst black people.
But I think
So do
that's
you
it.
think we not need that anymore?
I don't.
You said
think-
you would never go to it again.
Yeah, I did say that, and the reason why I say I would never go to it again, because I seen the marches become commercials. When I see a guy like Al Sharpton, I'm not a
Benefiting
fan.
from it.
I'm not a fan of the old guard.
Jesse
The old
Jackson.
guard. Yeah, the old guard.
I know what you mean.
I'm not a fan of those guys. I'm not even really a big fan of Farrakhan at this point in my life. I think the radical change will come from the younger people.
Yeah.
I think those older people all try to hold on to they try to sit in the driver's seat too long,
Right.
and it stales out the message. So when Al Sharpton them do the same try to march
I get it.
10 years later, it wasn't the same feel for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So basically, I wouldn't go to one unless it was really about now. If I went to one now, who am I going out here to network with? What am I going out here to do? I don't want to just go out here to waste my time. If I'm going out here and you're going to tell me, oh no, these the brothers from Baltimore, they're doing real estate. These the boys from Detroit, they're doing this. These the boys from California, they got growers right now. They can
But
show
I
you how to
think,
get into the grow business.
but I think when you go out there to a bunch of positive people that's like that, you're gonna run into a bunch of people like yourself, and I think that part will be up to you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, what you
You
love
go out
yourself
there
to.
and you go out there and network. You
Yeah,
know what
I
I
don't
mean?
think
Because
that
you
you should
communicate.
have an agenda neither. I feel like when you have an agenda like that, it takes away from the genuity of your reason of being here. You
I
said
think-
I'm going here for this.
I think-
Yeah,
That's
I'm
not-
just saying,
that's not
that's
the
just me though.
purpose.
That's my personality.
I think if they ever had one, and
They did. They had a couple after that.
if they have another one, now that I'm a parent, I take
You
my
would take
son
it.
out there. Yeah, I would take him out there because I know what it felt like
For you to see it.
for me to see it, and I knew what I was seeing on TV, and I knew what the media was portraying us to be. So it was something different to see. And nowadays in time, it's way crazier. How we're being promoted now is way crazier than what it was then. So if that would counteract how my son see us, hey, he's gone.
Yeah.
About blacks and wax. You want to do blacks and wax?
What's that?
That's a
The museum in
Oh, down in DC.
Baltimore.
Baltimore, I've been there, yeah, but I never knew it was called that though.
Yeah, it's called the Blacks and Wax Museum.
I've been there, but I
Like
never
you can see
saw
the
it.
slave feet and they
Gentrified.
They got one downtown.
You
actually,
talking about
at
the one that was
college.
around since the
I mean,
90s?
Mummy's wrapped
Yeah,
up.
I went with
Right here in
school.
Center.
My school took us there. Yeah.
traumatized.
But it's one in South Carolina the same way. That's actually on a like plantation. It's
No shit,
deep,
bro.
yeah, the one in South Carolina.
But it's one right here, right where we do the pen relays. Me and my daughter, we spent the night there. They had like a overnight thing at the whatever it's called, and they literally have in glass slaves wrapped up and bonded, like all kinds of things. That I mean, it's a whole
And that's a
museum,
good
but
museum.
you would never even know it's there.
That's great.
Yeah, for real.
And that's that black pain that you talking about that we profiting off so much.
Yeah,
It's like, why-
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but it's just like people really will pay money
To see
to
that.
go see us, like.
Because they can't
Messed
believe
up,
it.
yeah.
And they don't believe it once they see it. They look at that as art. They look at that
Like,
as,
wow, but
yeah.
like, we lived it. Like,
Exactly.
we know it's
Yeah.
real.
Exactly.
People be so amazed, like, but you hear about it. I'm just confused. Like, do I hear about it more than other races?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
Because I'm
problem.
black. Is
Yeah.
that why I hear it all the time?
Not
I
even
see it
that.
all the
I'm
time.
gonna be honest with you, Bird.
No. That is a narrative. I'm sorry, to cut
Yeah.
you off. That is a narrative of the media. Because if you go, we work around other nationalities, and the idea that they have is that every day we go home, if you live in the city, you got a big ass AK-47, and when you go in the house, you look like this, like, oh my God, you know, and every day you come out, you like Rambo, like, so you tying up your boot, like, man, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, you know, I swear to God, like the narrative that the news push is really like, you would really think that once you cross certain lines, so whatever that line may be, once you get to, I don't even know, Broad and fucking Allegheny and 52nd and Market, you automatically got a bulletproof fucking helmet on, and you got 2 grenades, and you just no, that's not our reality, man. It's not.
And
It's
too,
really-
Bird, is I think it's different in different parts of the world. You know, like my family from the South, they have never been to the North. Some of them, you know. So in terms of like my little cousins and all that, all they know is family. All they know is, like he said, love, because the whole town's only one store. They getting love from every neighbor. They can go wherever they want to. The doors is open at night, not unlocked. They open. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody in that town knows each other. So, you know, I just don't want people to think that everywhere is the same,
Right.
you know, but this inner city life is very hard. And I commend people because, you know, everybody is so down on themselves. Everybody's so, oh my God, I don't have what I want. You know, it's like a, you know, you want it right then and there. But I just want to commend those people for their tenacity, because city life is difficult. It's very different than being raised in the South. You know what I mean? You know, even with the hardships that we encounter, the drugs, the rough streets, you know, the lack of parenting, things like that. But I want people to not focus on where they started, but more so where they end. You know, it's going to be tough. It's going to be rough. And hopefully you can have people that's holding your hand along the way, like, you know, we have in this room. No, I'm not really done.
Okay,
No,
keep
just
going.
joking.
You sure you got bars?
So you gotta get the beat together. I told them last week I had a little rap.
Yeah, where you rap at? Where you rap at?
So me and you, we got you know, communicate a little bit so I can get the little
So we're
spin on
gonna
it.
have freestyle Thursdays.
For sure.
Can't wait.
Little something I got for y'all. Stay tuned.
Yo, we gonna like them old ass people. Let me tell
Yo,
everybody what we doing.
yo.
Even if you win, you lose. Because if you too good, they're like, oh, this nigga has been from the cafeteria. And if you old and whack, they're like, this nigga.
But if you older, like it's an old back
So, but folks, wait and see. Coming soon. Mixtape by Mixtape by Miss OOO. But until then, folks,
Make sure you here for it.
make sure you like,
Subscribe.
and share
and that's it for today's
on
episode.
Freestyle Thursdays.
Can't wait.